Come closer. The shadows have missed you, and tonight they have a new story to tell. Welcome to Scary Stories After Dark. The lights wouldn't stop humming. Eli pressed a rag to the gash on his arm, blood smearing down the glass door as he locked it, again, even though the thing outside didn't use doors. He could still hear it breathing. Wet, dragging, too slow to be human. The security monitors jittered, showing 20 angles of the same empty lot, except one, pump 3, where a shadow stood facing the camera, head tilted, mouth wide, teeth too many. Eli grabbed the phone. Dead. His reflection in the dark screen mouthed words his throat hadn't formed.
You shouldn't have stayed.
Something heavy hit the roof, metal screamed. He backed toward the counter, heart clawing his ribs. The fluorescent bulbs dimmed, brightened, dimmed again. And the hum turned into whispering. When the front glass finally cracked, it sounded like a sigh. The next morning, the cops found the door unlocked and the floor scrubbed clean. Only the name tag was left, half buried under a gas receipt. Night attendant, Eli. The blood was gone. At least that's what Gabe told himself. The tile near the counter was spotless, too clean compared to the rest of the station's grime. The bleach smell clung to the air like a secret trying too hard to stay hidden. He shifted the strap of his duffel and stepped inside. The bell above the door gave a half-hearted ding, then hung silent. He'd been driving for an hour, and not one car had passed him. Highway 66 stretched out behind him like an old scar, long, cracked, and faded with stories people didn't tell anymore. His mom's words came back. That road takes people, Gabe. He'd laughed it off, until now. The manager hadn't even stayed to show him around, just tossed him the keys and muttered something about keeping the lights on. They were on, all right. Too bright, too loud, the kind of buzzing that crawled under your skin. Gabe ran his hand along the counter, fingertips tracing faint scratches in the laminate. Under the register, something glittered, a name tag. He picked it up. The back was sticky, the letters half peeled. Eli. A truck rumbled past outside. Only when he turned to look, the road was empty. He set the tag down slowly. The hum deepened, almost breathing. First night, he whispered to himself. And the station whispered it back. It was 12:03 a.m. when the headlights appeared. Gabe blinked at the glass doors, half certain they were just reflections from the fluorescence, until he heard the gravel crunch. A semi rolled to a slow stop at pump 3. The cab was old, dull red with a cracked windshield. No music, no engine rumble, just the groan of metal settling. He waited for the driver to get out. No one did. After a minute, Gabe grabbed the receipt pad and stepped outside, the desert air sharp against his skin. Pump three's card reader's busted, he called out. You can pay inside. Nothing. He took a few steps closer. The driver's door was open a few inches, swinging with the wind. The cab light was off, but the smell of diesel and something metallic, almost sweet, hung in the air. He leaned in, flashlight trembling. The seat was empty. Then a voice rasped from behind him. Didn't mean to stop. Gabe spun. A man stood by the pump, tall, thin, face half hidden under a trucker cap. His eyes glinted dull gray like glass marbles. You need help? Gabe asked, trying to sound steady. The man smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Already got it. He walked past Gabe, slow and heavy-footed, and went straight into the store. Gabe followed, heart banging. Inside, the man stood at the counter, staring at the coffee machine that was still dripping from earlier. He picked up a cup, poured nothing, just held it. You heading east? Gabe asked. The man didn't answer. He just turned his head, showing the side of his face. The skin there was smooth, too smooth, no stubble, no pores, like wax. You'll see her soon, the man said. Then he set the empty cup on the counter, walked out into the dark, and climbed into the truck. The engine roared to life, but when Gabe looked back through the window, the truck was gone. No lights, no sound. Just the receipt still printing at the register. It read, Pump 3, 6.66 gallons. The bell above the door rang softly, like it was afraid to be heard. Gabe looked up from counting change. A woman stood in the doorway, framed by the glare of the outside lights. Her hair was pinned in careful curls, her coat buttoned to the neck, pale blue like something from an old photograph. Evening, she said. Her voice was honey smooth but faint, like she was speaking through a thin wall. Gabe blinked. Evening. Didn't see your car pull in. She smiled, polite and distant. You wouldn't have. She drifted down the aisle, her heels clicking slow and steady. Each time she passed a shelf, the fluorescent light above it flickered. Gabe could hear her humming, a soft tune, old-fashioned, half familiar. He realized it was the end of the line. When she reached the counter, she set down a pack of gum and a glass bottle of cola. The label was faded, the kind they hadn't sold in decades. Just these, she said. He rang it up. That'll be $2 even. She reached into her purse and pulled out a 10. The bill was crisp, too crisp, but dated 1953. Gabe frowned. Ma'am, this is pretty old. I don't think... She looked up sharply. It's new to me. For a heartbeat, he swore the hum of the lights stopped altogether. The air thickened, heavy with the scent of lilac and static. When he looked back down, the bill was gone. So was the gum. So was she. The bell over the door hadn't rung. Gabe stepped out from behind the counter, pulse racing. The aisle was empty, but a line of wet footprints led toward the exit, bare feet, too small for the heels she'd been wearing. He followed them outside. They stopped halfway to the pumps, right where the road began. And there, in the dust, something glinted, an old silver dollar, half buried, heads up. He didn't touch it. The clock above the register read 2:17 a.m., though Gabe was sure it had been 2:17 at least twice already. The hum from the lights had grown steadier, heavier, like a heartbeat. He tried to drown it out with the radio, twisting the old knob until static gave way to a slow drawl of country music. The voice crackled mid-line, sputtered, then cut off completely. "Figures," he muttered, slapping the side of the radio. The bell above the door rang. He turned and froze. The man who stepped inside was tall and narrow, his clothes pressed clean, his face unnervingly blank, a red tie, a white button-down, no jacket. Something about him didn't match the desert, too polished, too still. "Welcome in," Gabe said, throat dry. The man didn't answer. He walked the aisles slowly, hands clasped behind his back, stopping at random shelves as if studying the dust itself. When he finally reached the counter, he smiled. It was a perfect smile. Too perfect. His lips stretched wider than they should, revealing rows of small, even teeth that went a little too far back. "Quiet night," he said. Gabe forced a laugh. "Guess everyone's asleep." The man leaned forward, that endless grin still locked in place. "Not everyone." He laid something on the counter, a folded receipt from the gas pump. Gabe glanced at it. Pump 3, 6.66 gallons. "That was earlier," Gabe said. "You drive the red truck?" The man tilted his head. "No, but she does." Gabe blinked. "Who?" The man's eyes glittered, empty of pupils. "The road," he said softly. "She eats what doesn't belong." Then the lights flickered. Once, twice. When they steadied, the man was gone. Only the receipt remained, and something damp smeared across the counter. He touched it with shaking fingers. Oil or blood? The humming had changed again. Now it was breathing. The humming had settled into a steady rhythm again, too steady, like it was syncing with his pulse. Gabe glanced at the clock, 3:11 a.m. He'd started keeping track of the time, but the minutes didn't line up anymore. Some passed in blinks, others dragged like molasses. The desert wind howled through the cracks in the glass doors. Then, without warning, a man stumbled in. Middle-aged gray hoodie, shaking hands. "Restroom key," he gasped. "Please." Gabe pointed to the hook behind the counter. "Back wall, near the ice freezer." The man snatched the key and hurried out. The door's bell jingled and stilled. Gabe waited. 5 minutes. 10. No sound. He leaned over the counter, watching the restroom door in the camera feed. The grainy footage showed nothing, just the key swinging from the handle. Finally, he grabbed his flashlight and went out. The desert air was colder now. The station's glow barely reached the restroom's metal door. He knocked. "Hey, you okay in there?" No reply. He knocked again, harder. Still nothing. He slid the key in, pushed the door open, and froze. The single bulb flickered overhead. The stall doors were open. The mirror above the sink was shattered, shards glittering across the floor like teeth. And on the largest piece of glass, Gabe saw himself. except the reflection didn't move when he did. It just stared back, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, breathing out a mist that Gabe couldn't feel on his own lips.
Not you.
The reflection whispered. Then the bulb burst. When the lights of the main station steadied again, Gabe was standing back behind the counter, shaking, breathless, his hands clean but his sleeves damp with something dark. The restroom key was hanging neatly on the hook. The feed showed the door closed, undisturbed. But in the corner of the screen, for a single frozen frame, another Gabe stood inside, head tilted toward the camera. The phone rang at 3:33 a.m. It shouldn't have. The line had been dead all night. Gabe froze behind the counter, eyes on the rotary phone mounted to the wall. The plastic was yellowed, the cord twisted, the little red light pulsing in time with the humming bulbs above him. He hesitated a second too long. It rang again. He picked it up. Highway 66, gas, night shift. A breath answered him, slow, wet, close. Then a voice, low and genderless, like it was being dragged through sand.
Don't open the back door.
Static flared in his ear. The phone slammed down on its own. Before he could move, something pounded against the metal service door at the end of the hallway. Once, twice, then a third time that made the soda bottles rattle on their shelves. He grabbed the flashlight, stepped into the hallway. The air smelled of iron and ozone. The pounding stopped. He reached the door and pressed his ear against it. Nothing but the hum. Then, faintly right by his ear, someone whispered,
Too late.
The knob turned from the other side. Gabe stumbled back as the door shuddered inward, its hinges screaming. He threw his shoulder against it, locking it with the deadbolt. Silence. He stood there for a long minute, shaking, the hum of the lights pressing into his skull. When he finally looked down, he saw prints on the metal, handprints, dark and wet, burned into the steel like tar. The phone started ringing again, this time from somewhere inside the station. The ringing stopped. Silence fell thick and heavy, like the desert itself had paused to listen. Gabe stood in the middle of the station, one hand still clutching the phone, the other trembling at his side. Then, tap, tap, tap against the glass doors. He turned. A small shape darted past the windows, quick and low. The automatic lights outside flicked on a second too late, catching only a blur of movement. Gabe's heart stuttered. Hello? He stepped closer, the glass fogged with his breath. Beyond the pumps, the highway lay empty under a skin of silver fog, and then he saw it. A tiny figure standing at the edge of the light. A child, maybe 6 years old. Barefoot, hair hanging in wet clumps, wearing pajamas that didn't fit quite right, one sleeve too long, one too short. The kid tilted their head. Gabe lifted a hand, half wave, half shield. Hey, you lost? The child giggled, high, sharp, echoing like a sound inside a pipe. Then they bolted out of the light and vanished behind the pumps. Gabe ran for the door, the bell shrieking above him as he stepped into the cold. Hey, kid! He circled the pumps. Nothing, only the hiss of wind and the distant creak of metal. Then he saw it by his feet in the dust. A small toy car, red paint chipped, headlights cracked. He crouched and reached for it, Before his fingers touched the toy, both headlights flickered on. The hum of the station deepened, vibrating through the ground. The toy rolled backward a few inches, then stopped, facing the highway. Gabe's breath came in short bursts. "No, no, no!" A whisper brushed his ear.
Don't follow the lights.
He jerked around. No one there. When he looked down again, the toy was gone. Back inside, the station's radio clicked on by itself, whispering static between words that didn't make sense.
Run before sunrise.
The lights outside buzzed like hornets. Gabe gripped the flashlight and pushed through the back door anyway. The air hit him, cold, chemical, thick with the smell of rot and gasoline. Behind the station, the dumpsters loomed in the dark like metal tombs. Something dripped steadily from one corner. He aimed the beam. A trail of blood. Dark, syrup thick, leading away toward the service lane. "Hello," his voice cracked. "You okay?" No answer, only the wind shifting trash, the hum of the sign above the pumps groaning like a dying thing. Then came the sound, a muffled wet thud from inside the dumpster. Followed by another. Gabe stepped closer, heart hammering. The lid creaked, moved. He swallowed, grabbed the edge, and yanked it open. Inside wasn't garbage. Inside was movement. Pale arms writhing, tangled together, gripping and pulling as if trying to climb out. A dozen of them, skin mottled gray, slick with oil. He stumbled back, gagging. The lid slammed shut on its own. The metal convulsed, denting outward with another heavy thud. A face pressed against it from the inside, flattened, featureless, screaming without sound. Gabe turned and ran. The ground vibrated. Behind him, the dumpster scraped across the asphalt like something crawling on its belly. The hum of the station roared into a single, low moan. He burst through the back door, slammed it, locked it, chest heaving. The lights inside pulsed red for a second, then steadied. On the security monitor, the dumpsters were gone. Only a dark smear remained, leading off toward the highway. The phone rang again. He didn't answer this time. Outside, the sun was starting to hint on the horizon, just a thin gray bruise above the desert. The sky was paling to ash. Gabe grabbed his keys, his duffel, the flashlight that flickered weakly now. He didn't bother turning off the pumps or the humming fluorescents. They felt like the heartbeat of something he wanted no part of. He pushed out into the dawn air. The road stretched empty in both directions, pale and silent. He could still smell the blood or oil or whatever that thing had bled behind the station. Every instinct screamed, "Move." He reached his car, fumbled with the keys. The first turn of the ignition coughed dead. Second turn, nothing. Then he saw it. Something standing by the edge of the highway. Tall, thin, the suit. The man with the perfect smile. His mouth was wider now, splitting up toward his eyes. He lifted a hand in a slow, deliberate wave. Gabe slammed the key again. The engine caught with a scream. He tore out of the lot, gravel spitting, the station shrinking behind him. The road bent ahead, blacktop glistening like wet skin. He pressed harder on the gas, watching the horizon brighten. His hands were slick with sweat, blood, something sticky he didn't want to name. The radio flickered on by itself, a calm voice, familiar, static-laced.
Shift's over, Gabe. You did good.
He looked down. The radio wasn't tuned to any station. When he looked back up, the road was gone. Just desert. The car spun, skidding through dust, slamming into something unseen. The airbag never opened. His head hit the wheel, black. He woke up slumped over the counter. The hum of the lights, the smell of oil and bleach. The clock read 10 p.m. Outside, the neon sign blinked to life again. A car rolled up to the pumps. A familiar manager stepped inside, smiled thinly, and tossed a set of keys onto the counter. "Morning, Gabe," he said. "You're right on time for your first night." Gabe stared at his hands, still bloodied, still shaking. The phone on the wall started to ring.